evening. Yes, good evening. Well, welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Tony Thompson, and I have the privilege to serve SAISD as Chief of Staff. And it's certainly a delight to be here and to have you give us some of your time this evening so that we can share some information to keep you apprised of what the district is doing with respect to the facility repurposing process. So we know that the Jefferson community is a very, deeply involved community, and you like to have information clearly, presented to you, and that's what we intend to do this evening. So I'm going to start by just introducing some of our special guests that you'll hear from. And they include some of the members of the Facility Repurposing Panel, and they include Susan Simpson and Jason Mims, and is Jennifer here? Jennifer Tobias? I think she's going to join us, but want to give them a big round of applause for all of the time and effort that's gone into helping, kind of steer the direction that the district is going to take with respect to this project. I'm just here to really open it up and facilitate. We have some speakers, and the Facility Repurposing Panel members will also come up to answer questions for you. We certainly want you to ask questions about this process so that you'll walk away with a fairly deep understanding of how all of this is going to unfold over the next year and a half or so. Let's see, Ernest Gonzalez is he's the Director of Strategic Initiatives, and he's going to present information to you, and he, along with the repurposing panel members who are here, will answer questions, take questions, and answer those for you. Also, certainly want to thank our superintendent, Jaime Aquino, for being here tonight. He wanted to be able to view and participate and listen as well. And then I turn it over now to someone who really needs no introductions, but it's the awesome trustee from District 7, Ed Garza. So, Mr. Garza, I'm going to turn it over to you at this time.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Thompson, Dr. Aquino. It's good to see you here, and all of our staff from San Antonio ISD for setting up, and the campus itself. Mr. Rivers, head of school, thank you for hosting us here. I also see fellow trustee Stephanie Torres, also a Jefferson grad, by the way. We may sing the alma mater here at the end if y'all are kind. But I do want to welcome you, and it feels great in here. Great temperature here in the dining hall, cafetorium here at Jefferson High School. And if you haven't seen all the great improvements that the bond funds have made at this school, I can tell you that it is impressive to see the restoration. I see Sylvia here, who is with the Historic Preservation Society here at Jefferson High School, one of our partners through this process. And I also see two of our neighborhood leaders from the Jefferson neighborhood, Jason and Bianca from the Monticello Park Neighborhood Association. So just them two will share information that will go out to literally thousands that live in the surrounding neighborhood here in District 7. So thank you all to our steering committee members. Thank you for your service and giving of your time in this important process. Right now, we are at the beginning of the school year, and so I do think it's appropriate that we kick off the process of repurposing. Every day I look at enrollment and membership numbers at all of our campuses, and I look especially careful at District 7 to see, do we have more students than last year, equal, less? How do we take in the two schools that closed, those factors? But overall, I can tell you that the district looks very strong this year in enrollment and membership. It seems like there's an uptick. And even here in District 7, all of our schools are on track to surpass last year's number, some by over 100 plus in new students compared to last year's enrollment. And here we are sitting in the school that has the largest right now at just about 1,750. And it's the highest that Jefferson has seen in enrollment in 10 years. So the good news is, as we're talking about repurposing for those schools that were closed for this school year, things change every single day. But if you look at trends that we heard from not only the demographic experts that came in and showed what's happening in San Antonio with the diminishing birth rate, you can look at the state of Texas. Superintendent and I were talking about this the other day with the TEA data, and the commissioner citing that next school year, 2025, for elementary school students, that will be the peak of enrollment for Texas. For the state of Texas, and elementary schools will hit a high next year, and it will start a decline, primarily again because of the lower birth rate. That will have a ripple effect across schools over the next 5, 10, 15 years. It will reach the high schools also very shortly thereafter. So what the community is doing here today, with the advice of the steering committee, ultimately going to the board, the elected board, is so critical to make sure that we not only get the public input on the repurposing of the facilities, but that we set the tone as an example of how best to handle the closing and repurposing of public schools in neighborhoods throughout San Antonio, and in particularly SAISD. It's a dynamic process. It's one that must involve all stakeholders, but at the end of the day, we know that we were built for 75, 80,000 students, and we're no longer at that capacity. So we have to make adjustments so that our investment and our dollars go into the classroom, not just buildings. So with that, again, I just wanted to bring welcome greetings to all of you, and look forward to your public input tonight. Ms. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Okay, so we're ready for Ernest, again, who's our Director of Strategic Initiatives, to walk you through this brief presentation.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. Before we get into the update, I wanted to take a moment to invite Ms. Michelle Jimenez to come talk a little bit about some of the bond updates for District 7.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for giving me a few minutes just to update you on bond work at this campus. Here we're looking at, if you can see these photos, these are the wonderful renovations of the third floor, which are the science labs. This is part of the transition bond work. And you know, we're wrapping up bond 2016 restoration, and we were able to salvage historic features of this campus. So it was 1930s building. They were doing renovations, and Bond 2020 work, which includes library, auditorium restoration, and other improvements, is expected to go to the board this fall. So as we're wrapping up the restoration, we're moving into the next phase of the bond. And what we're looking forward to with that work is the auditorium renovation, the library renovation, and also we're going to do exterior renovation on the 1930s main building, which you're going to see new window replacements and other work related to that restoration project. But you can look at, keep up with these updates at bond.saisd.net, or if you have any questions, you can email bond@saisd.net. So that's just a quick overview, and I will pass it back to Ernest.
All right, thank you so much. So first, again, we just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. We know that y'all have very busy schedules, and this is important work. So we appreciate you taking the time to be here and be a part of this conversation. As most of you probably already know, the board in November of last year voted in favor of right-sizing, and because of that, it was a very difficult decision, but because of that, we now have many of our campuses that are available to be used in new ways to continue serving the community. And we're calling this work repurposing. There's a whole entire process along with it. So today what we want to do is just give you an update on what it's looked like over the past 6-7 months and kind of what are the next steps going to be in the repurposing process. By the way, there's a handout too that's going to have some information. So if you didn't get it, we'll make sure that you get a copy of it. On this slide right here, what you're going to see is that because of right sizing, we now have many facilities available for repurposing. There are 21 of them total. Now, this also includes some properties prior to, or campuses prior to 23-24 that are included in repurposing. As you can see, the red line indicates 3 of the facilities that are within the Jefferson single-member district. It is probably very important to note Baskin is for 2025. We still have students there, but it also includes Huppert's and Nelson. One of these 21 is actually the Basse Road. Somewhat close to here is there's no building there. It's a piece of land. This slide right here, it gives you kind of an overall outline of what the process is going to look like. Of course, starting in January of 2024, we pulled together a panel that's total 16 members. Right now, we have 14 of the 16. 2 we're still reaching out to have a full panel. The panel is made up of different stakeholders from across the district, representing different areas. And we're right in phase 2, which is where we're obtaining expertise. This is going to be a third-party expert that's going to help us out with the rest of the process, from helping us design what this process is going to look like. How do we prioritize different campuses? How do we conduct research on the properties, the neighborhoods? How do we do thorough community outreach throughout this process? How are we going to accept the proposals? Everything, right? Something very important to note about the process is that it's very important to us to engage very thoroughly with the community, as well as to communicate what we're up to. So that's why we're having this meeting tonight and several more meetings to let you know what we're up to. Until the buildings are repurposed, there's 3 things that we wanted to share with you that are part of our commitment. Number 1 is we have a big commitment to our community. We want to ensure that anybody that we lease these facilities to is an organization that's aligned to the mission of the district. That's a top thing, right? Secondly, these have to be services that are desired by the community. We can't say, this is what we're going to do here. It's going to be a partnership to make sure that we can ensure that the community is served by these organizations. As you can see here too, one of our promises is to not lease to any external organization that would cause a decline in enrollment. So it wouldn't be, for example, a charter school that's outside of SAISD coming in. That would be a big mistake. Secondly, we wanted to let people know that a partner could sublease all or part of the building, but if that were to happen, it would be written into the lease that they would have to come to the district and get permission first before that can happen. So. Secondly, safety, it's one of our top priorities, so we want to assure the community that we will continue through the SAISD Police Department to monitor all of the campuses, and if there's any kind of concerns, you can call the SAISD police dispatch 24 hours a day using that phone number that's up there. And then third, responsible upkeep, so until the buildings are leased, we will continue to maintain the lawns, the landscaping, any kind of repairs that need to be made, such as broken windows, that will happen. There will be climate control at the facilities at a reduced level so that it can reduce costs, but also ensure that the buildings still are kept up. So January, we know that we assembled a panel to help us out, and this slide kind of outlines some of the roles and the objectives of the panel, the facility repurposing panel. At this time, I want to invite some of the panel members that are here. I wanted to introduce them. There's actually 2 of them here. If y'all want to come up here, we'll have y'all introduce yourselves here. We have Miss Susan Simpson and Mr. Jason Mims. They are 2 of our 14 panel members, and maybe y'all can talk a little bit about some of the work and accomplishments over the past couple months, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'm Jason Mims, and what what we've been up to is, first of all, we had to get educated on what the district was looking at and how the district felt we should proceed. And then in the group meetings that we had each month, and I think the first couple of meetings were like 6 hours or more. We learned a lot, and then we also had a chance to share what we thought or share what we saw in the process. And I found it to be a very collaborative process with folks who have different viewpoints. We get into the springtime and we have some outsiders, professionals, add what they see as part of the study. We still haven't gotten to the point where we have a contractor who's actually going to do a lot of the stuff that educators don't do. Educators teach children. Somebody else is the one who manages properties and real estate. They have that skill set. So they're going to come in and advise both the panel and the district staff on the process that you go forward in order to get to the point where we identify what should go to the board as recommendations over a period of time. So we're not even close yet, but there's a lot of people in the community, yourselves included, that have great ideas, and we want to capture those at this time. We don't want them to be lost. Neighborhood associations, individuals, folks who have ideas from nonprofit corporations, organizations. There are ways to just get the data into the district so it's not lost. But there will be a community engagement process, and Jennifer, who is part of we have 3 chairs, co-chairs, and Jennifer is one of them. Susan and I aren't part of the executive team, but Jennifer makes sure that whatever this thing looks like, it's going to look like community involvement. Even if nobody else is around, she's going to make sure that whatever happens, you know, everybody ought to be able to tell the community's voice was present.
Very well said. The last few months were slow, it felt like at first, because we had so many hours in, but it's such a big task because we're representing our communities, we're representing San Antonio, basically. We don't want anybody or anything to be left out, so we're trying to be very thorough on what we're doing and taking everything into account, and this is time-consuming, and a lot of people are asking me, well, what's going to happen? Is this going to be really quick? Man, we're going to be in it for like 5 years probably. This work's just going to keep going on, and I think we're all happy to be part of this and hope we do a good job. And please let us know your feelings or reach out to us at any time, because the process is, we're in the baby stages, and it's a lot just to get someone to be that consultant or a group of consultants. That's been taking months because we don't want to leave anything out. We want to be as thorough and exact as we can. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jennifer Tobias. Sorry for my tardiness. Had to go pick up the kiddos. No, I'm sure Jason and Susan filled you in very well. But yeah, I am one of 3 of the steering committee members for the facilities repurposing panel. And like Jason was saying, is we are extremely dedicated to our communities, and we really want to ensure that all of your voices are being heard. We are working with, we're a representative of you all, and we want to make sure that everyone's participating and providing suggestions on how best to repurpose these school buildings to benefit the communities. And, we're really excited to have a consultant come in and lend their expertise on a lot of the technicalities that, we as community members and, dedicated parents and citizens in SAISD do not have. But we do have a lot of know-how regarding community engagement and what that should look like, which, I don't think a lot of consultants do have that expertise. And so we are working really hard to ensure that that is our priority, to make sure that it's working for you. So yeah, if you ever have any questions at all, we are always available to point you in the right direction or answer whatever we can.
We have Reverend Jones just signed in, so he needs to come up here because he's part of this panel as well. He's been, we get to know each other because we see each other every month for an extended period of time. So if you got anything you want to just, so that's us.
Thank you. I do want to say thank you to the panel, because it is a lot of work that they've committed to, and I can tell you that they work really hard, they ask very tough questions, and they keep us on our toes. I can guarantee you. And we appreciate all of your time that you've committed to help us ensure that this process goes the best that it can.
The other part, and I just believe this truly, and this is what I've seen. This has been a very collaborative process. Nobody comes into the meeting and says, this is the way we're going to do it, and try to get 14 or 16 people to say, okay, we'll do it. It's like, what do you think? How do you see it? We asked the staff for information, and from what I can tell, they're transparent in providing the information. And some of it's not easy to get a hold of, but they do have the ability, they have shown the ability to be responsive. And so we appreciate that from the staff, that, they're not kind of like saying, we'll give you this much, but we're going to hide this. We don't get that sense.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you, sir. All right. So you're probably wondering where you can go to get more information, or how you can share this information with maybe friends and family or neighbors that weren't able to make this meeting. The website that you see up there, either you can scan the QR code, or you can go to the website saisd.net/repurpose. On that website, you're going to be able to see the panel, the process, the latest news. You're going to be able to see the panel members there in case you wanted to know more about that. You can see when the upcoming meetings are. The meetings are open to the public. So if you want to come see the meeting, we encourage you to do so. There's a calendar there that shows. They alternate back and forth between in-person and virtual. If you want to join the virtual ones, you just have to send us an email, and we'll make sure that you get the link. We don't want to put the Zoom link out there for the public, like Zoom bomber style, right? You can also submit an idea for repurposing or a question. If you're thinking, you know what, I really want to see this, or I wonder this, whatever that may be, there's a button that says contact, and you can send us those now. We've been saving all of them that we get. And because we have those emails too, it's going to be a way for us to email you and say, that the process is officially open and we can accept proposals. That's a good way to see when that happens. We also just put something up just brand new today, where if you send us an email or a question or whatever, we want to be able to send you a newsletter at least once a month to kind of say what we've been up to. So that's another thing. If you want to get some communication on what we're up to, I would encourage you to go to the website and check it out. We also have a phone number and email address. Of course, we'll take any questions y'all have. So yeah, we are available for some questions. If we have mic runners, in case Miss Jackie's there and Miss Ana Alicia's there with the mic, we'll take questions now.
Hi there. I was wondering if y'all had approached UTSA at all for any kind of opportunities for helping them expand their footprint while also possibly engaging SAISD students.
I don't know that we've intentionally reached out to UTSA just yet, but that's a good idea. We are open to, like, if you have direct connection, that's something we would want to know. I can say that Mr. Mims mentioned a consultant coming in already. What that was through the San Antonio Board of Realtors. They applied for a grant for an organization called the Counselors of Real Estate. They came in and conducted a bunch of interviews, and I know that included some partners in the city to help us think through what this could look like. And I believe there may have been a member from UTSA there, but yeah, that's a good idea, and we love taking those recommendations.
Yeah, and I mentioned that because UTSA, I'm an employee there, but UTSA bought a property, I don't remember exactly where, but it's called the West Side Community Center, and they use it for more community engagement. But this would be ideal for engaging students of the future. That will start as SAISD students at, of course, other campuses, but also hopefully get to the university as well.
Thank you so much. And by the way, we're taking notes of what everybody is saying today too and capturing the questions, so yeah, we'll be sure to follow up on that.
One other question was, are the police securing the properties all the time, or are they just kind of going through them once in a while, or how are they securing the properties that are empty now? Thank you.
Thank you for that question.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jenny Arredondo, and I'm currently serving as the interim COO for the district. And so with our vacant properties, we will continue our routine and regular work in regards to maintenance, but also with security. So we do want to make sure that we are keeping our buildings safe, monitoring them regularly, and being diligent because they're in our community. So we want to make sure that we are on top of that. Understood. Thank you.
There was a couple questions that I got to by a note card, so I'll talk about those. It says, in regards to leasing, which department will be responsible? And so that's through a new division called OTS, which is Operation, Technology, Talent, Strategy. I think I remembered it all, but it's a collaboration through that division that'll be responsible for this work. Where can the public find out? I talked about the website. What progress has been made towards availability of leasing? So again, that part is coming up, but we want to make sure that we're working with that expert that's going to help us through the new work of all of this. That, as Mr. Mims said, we're educators, and this is very different to us, so we want to make sure we do it right. And do we have a start date? Coming soon, coming very soon.
I'm a 1969 graduate and president of the Preservation Society here at Jefferson. And I understand because facilities is so important for the maintenance of the area and the schools and whatever, because of the uniqueness of Jefferson and our different artistic pieces that we have here in the maintenance. And maybe it's part of the budget, I don't know, but I am hoping that in future that we can get together, because For instance, our projects like the Student Council Patio Fountain, we spent close to $250,000 putting it together, bringing all artisans from all over San Antonio. And this is a hallmark of soliciting more funds from future donors for different projects that we may have in the future. But we would like to find out if at some point we can establish a protocol, a procedure as to when we have these projects done. Does SAISD have responsibility for it? Does the Preservation Society raise funds to maintain the projects that we create? That sort of thing. Because again, it is part of the landscape of the neighborhood. It is part of the soul of this neighborhood. And if we can find these ways out, that would help entirely, at least particularly when we have alumni that want to donate stone benches and tables and so on, when actually, in fact, the needs of the school are a little greater than that. But again, establishing that kind of communication, that if we have a donor that wants to donate benches or whatever, that they go to the school district first to say, what are your needs? And this way, it'll help in just the whole big picture of Jefferson.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar, for your work in helping to beautify the campuses. We appreciate that. I don't know exactly the process for that, but I feel like advertising this real quick if I can. We are in the process of right now recruiting for advisory councils. There's a bunch of different advisory councils, including one for operations that we're just getting started. So for those of you that want to participate and give us feedback, give us input in all of the work that we do, this would be a good way to get involved. We're looking for teachers, admin, paraprofessionals, parents, grandparents, community members, business partners, students. There's many different ways to get involved, and I would encourage y'all definitely to get involved with that. We'd love to have you.
Hello? Okay. My name is Isabel Fierce, and been part of the community for many years. I have been involved with a lot of the committees. One of the questions that maybe you can answer or the panel can answer was in regards to the consultants that came with the realtors, because I was part of a focus group. It was great. We had a lot of discussion, but I never heard anything back. Is there anything that we can, or maybe I missed it somewhere? So if we can maybe give information on that, I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. And first, I recognize you from our advisory council, so thank you for that question, and thank you for participating with those. There was an initial presentation that is available on the website now, and we have one of our colleagues at work that's translating it into Spanish. It's probably about 100 pages long, so she's working her way through it so we can get the Spanish version on the website as well. And a final report, we're expecting a final report from CRE very, very soon. So as soon as we do, we'll be sure to have that on the website and send it to everybody. Well, we'll be here if you have additional questions. Oh, all right. Mr. Garza, I'll pass the mic back over to you, sir.
Well, thank you for coming out this evening. This is just another step in a lengthy process. We know that there are many people that have opinions. If you even have ideas on how to engage outside of a public forum, because we know we have thousands of people around here. You're important, you're here, but there's so many others that wish they had the time, but they just need a way to communicate with their ideas or some of their input. So we do want to make sure we are inclusive for even those that cannot be here physically. So if you have ways, ideas, please let us know. But again, thank you for being here. To our superintendent, thank you. I know he's already visited a third of our schools in the first, I think, week and a half, going to many of them. I know he was at this campus the second day. I saw some of the posts and students that were excited to see him. He has a tough job, as do all of our employees in our school district. This is not an easy time to be in public education, but when you have commitment, when you have passion, good things happen and our students are served. And as we leave here tonight, let's not forget that's why we're here today, for the students that attend our schools today and the students that will be attending these schools, these public schools, tomorrow. So thank you again for your time, and have a safe trip home.